Hello, sister leaders. Look, it is 7 o'clock, and you know how we roll over here. We value one another's time, and you heard it. You got the email. It's been posted in the community. We've been waiting for it. And so we got the guest expert of the evening, none other than Twanda Young. And look, she is going to talk about avoiding the fall into burnout. So I'm going to turn it over to her because, I don't believe in siphoning anybody's time. Go ahead. Welcome to the Sister Leaders community.
It is an honor to be here. I am excited to share tonight. And one thing that I want as a takeaway, if you look inside of the chat, I have posted a follow through, a worksheet so that you can follow through. This is an interactive class that I want you to be able to write reflective notes, but I also want you to be able to follow along very easily with what we're going to talk about tonight, which is a major topic that we as leaders, we have to deal with. What I would tell you starting off with a quote is listen to your body. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. It's an accumulation of ignoring the whispers in our mind. We know that we feel burnout. We know something is wrong. We know there is something we need to address, yet we said we don't have time for it. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep moving forward. And tonight, I want you to take a tactical pause. And yes, that's my military term. It's in me, 33 years. You can't get that out of my system. To take a tactical pause and put yourself on your schedule, and let's talk about something that can derail us from being successful in what avenue of life you think about, whether that's being a parent, whether that's being a leader in your organization, whether that's being a leader in a civic organization. Burnout can kill our ability to be successful, and it can kill our teams. So tonight we're going to talk about this topic. Stop playing the burnout game. Let's address the issue. And we're going to use tonight for ourselves a framework that I put together called the Fireproof Method. That's avoiding burnout, living in our purpose, and making our dreams a reality. Let's first define burnout. What is burnout? Well, physically, we're talking about when you have insomnia, headaches, chronic fatigue. Emotionally, it's loss of motivation, stuff you used to do. I realized I had burnout. I love thrifting. I love it. I just love the game of going and finding something at a lesser cost that I don't have to pay the full cost for. But I found myself not wanting to even do that. So that was a sign for Tia to understand there's an issue. There's something that I need to pay attention to. Detachment, you're feeling alone in the world. Increasing just being negative and pessimistic about things where that's normally not you. That's signs, warning signs saying, hey, stop. You need to take a moment and pause and reflect on what's going on and figure out how to address it. So now that we understand the definition of burnout and where I'm coming from as far as talking to you tonight, this is the foundation of our conversation. Throughout tonight, what I would recommend and it's wholly encourage is that if you have any questions, this is not me just talking at you. I want this to be an engaging conversation of us tonight. So, Karen, do we have anyone on at this moment thus far with us? If not, we're going to continue to keep going and sharing this valued information.
Let's roll.
All right. So now that we know what burnout is, let's look at using our framework of fireproof. The first F stands for focus on faith and foundation. What is that helps you get through the day or get through challenges? What ignites your fire that you can look at? A friend of mine who was a drill sergeant used to tell his recruits, I want you to take a piece of paper, whether it's a 3x5 card, actually I got one here, a 3x5 card, And I want you to write 3 things that keep you motivated. That when you feel that you are getting that feeling of being demotivated, don't want to do anything, feeling burnout, what are those 3 things that are going to kick you back into overdrive so that you can pull that card out when necessary and look at it and determine, okay, I'm recentering myself. I'm getting back on the treadmill and I can move forward. I can get this done. Now, if you look at those 3 things when you're finding yourself in that space and they're not helping to motivate you, then you have the wrong 3 things on the card. You need to revise what you have on that card. So define what keeps you grounded. Define what builds a solid spiritual and emotional foundation for you that you can always go back to. Maybe it's walking, maybe it's reading, maybe it's journaling, but build a foundation of something you can go back to that can center your focus on what's important and what your goals are. So that's first, F. So the I is identify your inner fire. What fuels you? Take a moment and write down at least one thing that fuels you and then one thing that drains you. Now, I'm an introvert. I know you said there's no way that General Young is an introvert. I'm telling you, I can be ambiverted when I need to. But speaking and talking and doing all these things that I do, I know that they drain me. They drain me mentally and they drain me physically, because when I do them, I'm doing all that I can do to share value with whomever I'm interacting with. So I know to refill my tank, I have to come back and take a pause. Just a day where I'm not doing anything, where I'm just, whether it's watching, I love real shorts, short stories that I sit and watch. That to me is an opportunity for me just to block everything out and be able to just focus in on relaxation. So whatever fuels you, understanding what that is, and putting into practice something that will combat that to allow you to reignite your flame. And then what drains you? Knowing those things that drains you helps you put an action plan together to know when I do that thing, after I finish it, I have to do this to reignite my fire, put more energy back into my tank so that I can fill it up to continue to add value. And then discovering what are those negotiables, non-negotiables for you. What's negotiable for you? And what's that red line in the sand that you're not willing to cross because you know that it drains you and that it burns you out. You have to do some self-awareness checks on yourself. No one else is going to do that but you. And once you realize, hey, this is something that I'm not going to do, as an example, learn from my lesson. I'm very busy and I put things back to back to back to back to try to, in my mind, adding as much value as I can. However, what I've realized is by doing that, I'm draining myself even quicker of not being able to show up as authentically as I can and adding the most value I can add. So I've made sure that between meetings with clients, I have at least 20 minutes just to go get a cup of coffee, go stand outside and get some vitamin D. But I know Tia and knows what I need to do to regenerate, or that ain't even a word. Let me say it, reinvigorate me to be able to make sure that I show up for people, because I promised them that, right? As business leaders, as managers, as supervisors, we have promised our people that we will show up. And when we show up, we're going to show up full force. And we have to realize those things that drain us, those things that put energy back into our tank to allow us to keep our word. At the end of the day, all we have is our word. And if we can't keep our word, if our word is no good, then we're no good. So looking at yourself from the outside in of what are those things you need to put in place to help you. Warning signs. You know that sign, that warning sign that says, what are pressures you need to release? One of them for me was, and I wrote a chapter in an anthology, Destiny Expose, about perfectionism being the silent killer of leadership excellence. Because I was so about being perfect, because of the position I held, and because many females, African Americans did not hold this position in the military as a brigadier general, I felt I had to be perfect, that there was no room for error. Well, that was unrealistic. That was an unrealistic requirement I put on my people and unknowingly put on myself of everything needed to be perfect. I'll tell you a story. I realized that perfectionism was an issue for me when I was brought to the carpet by a senior leader of mine, because I had dealt with my team in such a way that was blatantly just not right. The way I was treating them, the tonality and what I was expecting them to do and how I did it was just wrong. And he called me out on the carpet. And literally, this is one of the times in my 33-year career that I almost lost my career when I was a colonel. I had to reevaluate myself. And I had to honestly go back to my team and apologize for the error of my ways and my inadequate leadership that I was portraying to them. I had told them that it was an honor to lead, that it was a privilege to lead, that I wanted to lead them to be successful, but my actions didn't match my video. My actions were showing them that I didn't care, that I expected them to work like workhorses, and that if they didn't give it to me perfectly, they had to do it 2 or 3 times over. Now, I know you say, General Young, there's no way that you would do that. Well, I'm being transparent with you. That's the beauty of self-awareness as a leader and how we grow. I was a perfectionist. And that rippling effect impacted my ability to lead well and to show up and cover the 6 of my people who were giving their all day in and day out and sacrificing long hours, missing lunches. I was showing them that didn't mean anything to me. I didn't appreciate that. That wasn't value added for me because I was a perfectionist. So look at yourself. What are those things that you are asking of your team? And honestly, asking of yourself that is unrealistic expectations. And understand that those are warning signs. Those are warning signs that you need to do better. And you can do better by being aware that this is an issue for you. Once you recognize that this is an issue, now you can address it. Remember that leaders know the way, leaders show the way, and leaders go the way. That's the most important part, is that we go the way and we show our people when we have made an error in our ability to lead them from the front and to lead them by example. Because believe it or not, people are watching you. They watch you day in and day out to see what right looks like. And if we are not keeping ourselves to the standard, then we're creating a substandard, which becomes the new standard. Let me say that again. When we don't do the right thing, we create a standard that becomes the new standard that then becomes a substandard, right? And that's not what we do as leaders. Our job, in our job description, it writes that we are supposed to lead people in a way that gives them dignity and respect, and that gives them the ability to do their jobs in the most productive way that they can. And being a perfectionist is a warning sign that we are not holding up our word with the people that we are honored to lead. The E in fireproof. So we've talked about the F, we've talked about the I. We talked about the R. Now let's talk about the E, the boundaries that we set. My daughter has always said to me, Mom, time is a commodity that we don't get back, and I have to use it wisely. And I used to say to her, Tyra, time is, we got all the time in the world. She's like, Mom, no, we don't. You guys talk to us about, certain generations, and you guys don't understand the value of time. But we do. We're telling you, when you want us to do something, when you're telling us to do something, give us the time to do it. But also understand that we are going to protect our time and not deal with your foolishness if you're not a good leader. So learning how to say no. In many coaching sessions that I do at executive coaching for LT3 Leadership Solutions, I hear a lot of leaders saying, I just can't say no. If my boss is asking me to do X, Y, Z, I can't say no. I have to say yes. That's a fallacy. It's a fallacy that you cannot say no. There's ways of saying no. The way, as an example, one is when your boss puts too much on your plate. It's asking them, I have all these things that I am dedicated and committed to getting done. However, given the time that I have, can you share with me what is your priority so that you can better plan and time management for you to do what is necessary? And then have that conversation, a follow-on conversation that shares with the leader how long it's going to take you to do X, Y, Z. Because many times we as leaders, we tell you to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on, not understanding the time it's going to take. We just assume if you don't say anything and you say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, roger that, copy that you're good with it. Well, it is on us to share the left and right limits so that the lines are not blurred as to how long it's going to take us to do a particular task. And if we need more time, to ask for that time. But we also have to learn how to say no. I had a hard time saying no to my colleagues who would come to me and say, T, I need your help on this. Colonel, I need your help on this. Lieutenant Colonel, I need your help on this. Ma'am, can you help me with this? Even today, as a business owner of LT3 Leadership Solutions, I tend to put more on my plate than I need to. That I have people saying, can you come speak here? Can you come speak there? Let me give you an example. I just received a request to come speak in Augusta, Georgia. But I also already had a committed engagement for a speaking engagement in London. And what I was trying to do, as opposed to telling them no, thank you for the honor, I'm humbled by wanting me to come and share value, that it was going to be too tight, too close to me getting from point A to point B, and that I needed to say no this time, but keep me in mind next time. I was trying to do it all. That I was going to fly on the 17th of November and then drive back home 4 hours, get on a plane, and then go from there and fly for 12 to 13 hours to get to London. Once I got to London, I would have been tired. I would not have been able to show up in my best authentic self. I wouldn't have been real in that setting. So I had to tell the other agency, thank you, but I'm going to have to pass this time. Keep me in mind for other opportunities so that I can keep focused on the commitment that I had said I was going to give my all to, that I was going to be real in, that I was going to be reliable. I was going to be encouraging through the process of what I was going to be talking about, that I was going to make sure that I was going to be approachable. Think about flying that long hours, now meeting people who are excited to hear what you're getting ready to pour into them, but I'm too tired to give it because I agreed to do something else that was too close. I would not have been loyal, the last L in real. I would not have been loyal to myself, loyal to my brand, loyal to the person that is paying me to come and speak. We have to ensure that we understand the importance of no. No is a complete sentence, but there's ways of being tactful in sharing with people that you don't have the time. You don't have the ability to meet their needs fully at this time. And to do that, you want to make sure that you are saying no when you need to say no. The other thing is that we have to make sure during the times that we say no that we don't put a lot of guilt on ourselves because we're trying to be everything for all people. We have to realize that it's okay. People understand as long as you explain why you're telling them no. Some will get it, some won't. But we can't put that rock in our rucksack to say that we have to say yes all the time. Protect your no. Say it with me. I will protect my no. Say it again. I don't think you really felt it. I need you to say it as if you felt it, right? I will protect my no. Because by saying no, I'm allowing myself space to be flexible. I'm allowing my space to show up and be my authentic self and to be really present in the moment of those engagements I have agreed to. We owe that to our clients. Now let's look at P. Plan with purpose. Overcoming procrastination. If you are a procrastinator, I want you to put a yes in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and start it out. Yes, hi, my name is Twanda E. Young, snot-nosed girl from Darlington, South Carolina, and I am a procrastinator. And I'm overcoming that by putting a plan in place. First, understanding and identifying the reasons behind my procrastination. It is because for me, I put too many things on my plate that I don't have the time management to do what I need to do in the right time. I've learned that. So what I do now is make sure that I schedule out time to address those things I need to do in my business, to make sure that I'm giving time between my meetings, to give me time to relax, to make sure that I can make sure I have a moment of exhale, to refresh myself, to be able to show up for the next client. And then two, I do things now as opposed to the big gamut of things. I take things in small, implementable bite sizes that I can chew on, digest, and then decide how I'm going to execute. 3, use 2-minute rules. There's a thing called a Pomodoro. And a Pomodoro is where you take time. So you're working on a task and you just need a break. You work on a task for an hour, then you take a 10 to 15 up to 25-minute break, just to allow the fog of your mind to dissipate and allow you to then focus on and come back focused on what you need to focus on, right? So if it's a project you're doing, a proposal you're writing, we all know how tedious and time-consuming that can be, and we need breaks. Make sure that you're giving yourselves breaks throughout the time. Hi, Yvonne, welcome. And also make sure in number 4, give yourself a reward. Now that you took the time to understand what causes you to procrastinate, we now have a plan. We're taking things in smaller, bite-sized, manageable bites that we can address. And then if you use the 2-minute rule, that if you can get it done, get it done. But if it takes you longer, then use a Pomodoro in between that time to give you some time to refocus your energy, to refocus your critical thinking on that particular topic. And then reward yourself at the end that, hey, I got that done. I'm gonna go get me, I like M&Ms. So I'll go get me some M&Ms. I'll go get me a nice cup of tea. I go get me some coffee. I get me that soda I know I shouldn't be drinking, but I like it. So I go and get that Sprite, but I only use the small cans. I don't use big cans. So that should be good, right? Do things that give you a reward to allow you to then feel accomplished in that moment and set the stage for you to continue doing what you're doing. Next, I want you to remember the power of the tongue. We speak life or death in the power of our tongue. What you say is going to happen. You have to be mindful of that. Every morning, I want you to start counting your wins. And it could be a win of telling yourself something positive every day. I love my body. I value myself. I am worth the investment. I have the ability to do what God has destined me to do because He's given me the tools to be what I need to be for those who need what He's given me to share to the world. So every morning, I want you to start saying a win to yourself. And every night, I want you to say a win to yourself. Today, and this is a sentence, today is a win because and you finish the sentence. For me, today is a win because I get an opportunity to speak to you. I get an opportunity to encourage and pour into you. I don't take that lightly. That's a win. I get to be on stage sharing value with you in a setting that I'm praying you will take heed to what I'm sharing with you to transform your mindset from burnout to moving to being able to be very resilient in your ability to do what you are destined to do. I can talk all day, but we have to put things in action. Talking is simple. Action is where the work happens. Action is where the transformation happens. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to transform your life of being able to move from burnout to being able to be on a sound foundation of doing what you are called to do. There's someone out there that's counting on you to share what God has given to you. But if you are burnt out, you can't show up and share that information the way that you should. Or you can't show up, period, because you're burnt out, you're tired, you're frustrated, anxiety sets in. That's not where you should be. So, of all what I'm sharing with you, heed of putting these things into play. Now, I want to pause here because there is a worksheet that I put into the chat, and I want you to use that. It follows along with me as I'm talking to you, and jot down some reflective things as we ask ourselves this question. Going back one slide prior, what are those things you need to say no to? You know it. You feel it in your gut. You know it's overwhelming you. What are those things you need to talk to your supervisor, talk to your spouse about? My husband is in the midst of doing his dissertation. My boo thing, my Angus, my man, my best friend. And because I travel a lot, I like having him with me. But there are times when he has to tell me, baby, I'm sorry. There's a goal I have that I got to focus on. So I'm going to have to say no to traveling with you to point A to point B. I'll be rooting you on. I'll talk to you at night. All of those things. But I have to draw a line in the sand and say no to this particular request. Now, that's my husband. Who is it in your life that you need to say no to? Is it a family member that's constantly always coming to you, that you feel that you got to always be on 10 to be there for them, but nobody's there for you? You are worth giving yourself time. You are worth saying no, not at this time. I can't help you. No, not at this time. I need time to do some other things I have on my plate. So getting your mindset changing, challenging yourself to change your mindset that it's okay to say no. If you're with me, put a yes in the chat. If you're willing to look at those things in your life that you need to draw a line in the sand and willing to say no to give yourself time to be able to show up like you need to show up, put a yes in the chat. All right, I see it. I see it. I see you, Stephanie. I'm with you. You got this. Now, challenging you to, again, positivity feeds positivity. And when we talk about those wins in our lives, no win is too small for us to acknowledge. Because as we say those wins, as we become to wear those wins like it's our coat, we begin to build upon a stronger foundation of positivity in our lives. We begin to see the value of moving from burnout to becoming more fireproof and how that impacts our life in totality. That we show up better for people. We show up better for us first. And then we show up for others, whether that's our children, whether that's our family, other extended family members, on our job, in our churches, in our businesses. We show up better. Why? Because we have put ourselves on our schedules. We've said that we are worth the time and worth the energy to ensure that we are solid to then be able to pour and feed into others. The O is overcoming. What are those strategies that you may need to put into place, right? So that it's not a struggle. So we've talked about a few things, but connecting with other people, start talking to people that say, do I look like I'm burnt out? There's what I called a board of directors that I share with emerging leaders and really any leader, period, that you should have in your pocket. And when I say a board of directors, I'm talking about at least 5 people that you know that you can count on that is going to tell you when you're wrong, tell you when you're right, encourage you, but also tell you when you're not showing up as your best that you can be. For me, that's my 2 heartbeats I have. My 2 girls have no shame in their game to tell me, Mom, you need to sit down somewhere, or as my mom would say, grind on and sit down somewhere, right? And take a tactical pause because you're burning out. There's a lot we put on our plate every day. There's a lot of things we put on our plate, trying to be all things to all people. And that can become very overwhelming. So if that board of directors is there for you, helping you to understand, hey, you need to slow your pace here. Not that you need to stop, but you need to slow your pace, slow your roll in this area, and look at what you're trying to do. What is the goal you're trying to accomplish? And do you have a strategy in place to honestly monitor you moving toward that goal in a healthy way? So I would offer to you to write this down in your notes. Any goal that you have, I want you to put it against this particular framework. I call it the SID approach to leadership. The S is for strategic focus. What is your strategic, I can't even get the word out. What is your strategic focus that you have that you're going for? Now, what is the intentional value that that focus, that goal is going to bring you, whether it's in your personal life or your professional life? And then do you have enough information to make a decisive decision on whether you need to say yes, or you need to say no, or you need to say, give me more time? The SID approach to leadership. S, strategic focus. I, intentional value. And D, decisive and informative information to make a decision. Once you start putting things against that particular framework, it will help you be able to easily say yes to more on your plate or no to more on your plate, and give you the framework to respond to the individual that is asking something of you. But there are times when we feel burnout, anxiety, depression can come in, can seep in, that we may need to have a more professional look at things and help with that. And that's okay. Coaching. I'm a coach. There are many coaches out here, but maybe it's a coach you need to talk to. Maybe it's a medical provider that you need to help you with coping skills to help you not get to that point of being burnt out. And getting assistance is okay. I'm a coach who has a coach. So first I will tell you, if you're going to a coach who doesn't have a coach, that's not the coach for you. You want someone who is always trying to increase their knowledge so that they can be a better asset and tool for you. But it's okay for you to need additional assistance to create some good coping skills to help you not become burnout. Remember, we're fireproofing ourselves so that we don't become burnout. Learn the art of delegation. Are you delegating tasks? Or going back to that professionalism, I have to do everything. I was stuck in that rut, that I had to micromanage everything to make sure that it was as I want it to be. Well, that's not trusting your team. Guys, that's not leading. That is a dictator. That's no one who is being democratic in their and transparent and transformative in their leadership. So look at, how are you delegating, or are you delegating? If not, start, because your team is there. I just did a post the other day where I say, you as the leader, you're the car, and your team is the gas that allows that car to run. Use the gas. Don't get all the way down to empty. Your team is there to help fuel and ignite your vision to come to reality. Use them for the purpose for what they're there for. It's to hold you up. It's there to guard you when necessary through delegating tasks appropriately that they can do. Using automation. As entrepreneurs and business leaders, we write a lot of emails, we do a lot of posting. You know, you can go on my Facebook page, Twanda Young. You can go on LinkedIn. You can find me there under Twanda Young. You see that I post consistently every single day. And sometimes as I'm posting, I find errors. I used to find errors in my writing. Now, my background, my undergraduate degree was in English. So I pride myself on being a good communicator and articulating my thoughts in a clear and concise way. But I was making errors. Stuff that my girlfriend would send me texts and say to me, Tia, you missed a word. Is this what you meant? This doesn't make sense. So I began to use automation, ChatGPT, all of them, Copilot, Genie, Brad, whatever it is, to recheck the thoughts I put my thoughts in, have it to check the grammar, Grammarly as a tool to make sure that I'm showing up the way I want to show up and that I'm showing my excellence at all times. So utilizing automation saved me time, make sure I stopped making a lot of errors, if any errors, and it showcased to allow me to be able to then put other things that I wanted to get done because I was using my time wisely. If you're having problems with time management that can cause burnout, those tools, there's a thing called the Eisenhower box or Eisenhower matrix box. And on that is where you can prioritize what it is you're going to do for the day. And then from that prioritization, back to what I said about those wins, as you do those tasks, you mark it off. You mark it off. Mark off 1, mark off 2. You do that Eisenhower matrix will allow you to conform to better managing your time. And at the same time, you're making progress towards your goal without even knowing it. And you're addressing those things throughout your day that require your time, requires a CEO's response. And you're not doing the tasks that require your team to do. You're not micromanaging. You're not looking over people's shoulder constantly. You're not always asking questions that you don't need to be asking because your team is covering down on that. Because if you don't, you're creating a climate that is going to continue to be overwhelming, not only for you, but you're going to create an atmosphere within your organization, within your family nucleus, that no one wants to deal with you because you're becoming irritable. You're becoming anxious. Your outbursts, your responses are not tactful. They're not in a tonality that is representative of who you are because you're tired. So I want you to fireproof yourself so that you get to a point and to a position where things don't easily rattle your feathers. You don't respond in a way that you later on regret. And you might say, so Tia, how can you know all this stuff? I've been there. Of 33 years in the military at the senior leadership level, my last job was leading an organization of 3,500 people, a mixture of civilians, soldiers, and contractors for a multi-million-dollar business and organization supporting the Army. I had a lot on my plate. Think about me being a perfectionist in that environment. I caused chaos for others. So I've learned those lessons. Thus, me sitting here tonight, sharing with you that there's a way to fireproof yourself so that you don't find yourself where I was, creating conflict and chaos for the people that I care about, for the people that I have told them I'm here to serve you, to be the leader you can count on. I was failing them in that arena. And it wasn't until that board of directors I told you about came to me and said, you need to check yourself in the mirror. You need to do the mirror effect and look at yourself and grade yourself as to where you want to be and where you are today and the things that are happening. You can become fireproof, but it requires you to put in the work. I'm going to later share and I'll give it to Dr. Karen to share with the group the Eisenhower matrix that will help you put that in your toolkit to help you manage your time better and to lessen your struggle. Look at, are you delegating? And if you're not delegating as a leader, then you're an army of one doing nothing but marching in place because you're not moving yourself, you're not growing yourself, and you're definitely not developing your people. The next O in fireproof is own our positions. Own where we are. All right? Own where we are. Have confidence in your ability that you can do this. But also share your lessons learned with your people, because if you are burnt out, I guarantee you 85% of the people that are involved with you, helping to support you in your leadership role, are burnt out. Do as I did. Go back and give an apology. Tell them that you're going to do better. Tell them that you are going to trust them and their ability to do what you have asked of them. Stop micromanaging them, that you're going to delegate to develop them more so that they can reach their aspirations of what they desire to do in their particular leadership roles and in their career. When we don't do that, when we don't own our own errors, then we put ourselves on a pedestal that can quickly be kicked off, because we are saying to others, I'm here, you're here. And the reality is you're not. I hate to bust your bubble, but you're not. You are not creating a climate and a culture where people can thrive, where people will uplift each other, where people will cover each other to be as successful as you can be, to move your company where it needs to be, to do what God has destined you to do, to walk in your purpose, because you don't want to show people truly who you are. Leverage your voice in that way. I encourage you to do that, because by leveraging your voice, sharing your vision and the things that it's going to take to get to your vision with your people, they will be more apt to support and follow you. It only takes one follower to follow you, to show that what you're saying holds truth and bears fruit for growth. But you have to be willing to stand flat-footed in your own authority, to share, here are the steps that I took and I want us collectively to take as we move ourselves from burnout to becoming fireproof, and making sure that we are addressing those things mentally and physically, that we can show up for our clients and show up, most importantly, for ourselves. You have this, you can do this, but you got to put in the reps. This isn't something easy. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. So make sure you take that worksheet and answer those questions truly for yourself. You don't have to tell me the answer. That's okay. I'm here just to get you kick-started, to realize that you are in a state of burnout and how, or you're on your way to burnout, and how to stop it or get out of it by becoming fireproof. And the last F is in fireproof is finish what you start. You're here tonight because you understand that it's important for us as leaders to learn something daily, and then take what we've learned and share it with those who are giving us the privilege to lead them, who are looking for us to be the example, who are looking for us to motivate them, inspire them, and lead from the front. I call it the Mill Principle approach to leadership. But to do those things, we have to let the blinds up. Don't pull the blinds down, let the blinds up, and look through those blinds and see where there are blind spots that we have, and address the opportunities for growth. So staying consistent, being committed to doing what you need to do to turn around the current situation of being burnout or going on the trajectory of burning out, to be more fireproof in how you do things. I guarantee you that if you make the first step to moving toward the trajectory of becoming fireproof, you're going to be a better leader, you're going to be a better spouse, you're going to be a better friend, you're going to be a better conduit for growth for others in helping develop leaders to be better and to be able to reach their goals. So at the end of the day, I'm just simply asking you to put yourself on your schedule so that you don't become burnt out. If you want to know more, you can join me at the seat at the table as we have these kinds of discussions about being fireproof, about what it takes to be a leader, what are those things we need to have in place, and learn from the panel of awesome individuals we have that come on every other month with us. Join us for the next one, a seat at the table, 24 September from 6 to 7 p.m. EST time. All you have to do is, as the slide says, if you text LT, the number 3, to 704-769-1625, you'll get a seat at the table and we can continue this conversation. Thank you for your time. Over to you, Dr. Karen.
Oh, this was awesome. This was awesome. As my previous speaking coach would say, Dr. Cheryl, this was juicy, juicy.
Good.
Boy, juicy,
Good,
juicy.
good,
And so
good.
I have 2 pages of notes here. And prayerfully, other individuals took notes as well as I'm downloading. Now I have the spreadsheet downloaded, the worksheet downloaded as well. One of the tidbits that I did put a question in here. If you have any questions for Twanda, please let me know. But what I found to be very valuable, in addition to everything you said, is that 2-minute rule. If a task can be done in 2 minutes, just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, get it out the way. And that's a reward because you've accomplished something, right?
Absolutely,
Something
absolutely.
that endless task that we have ourselves. That's why the Eisenhower box is so important to use, or a tool to use to help you manage your time more appropriately and most effectively. Because if I can get it done in 2 minutes, do it, get it out the way so that I can have more time on those tasks that are going to take me more time. But if you're doing a task, as I shared, that's going to take you more time, do a Pomodoro. Take 15 minutes, do a task for 15 minutes, something, putting in proposals, putting in for a contract proposal can be very tedious. Take 15 minutes, refresh yourself, come back to it with open eyes, new eyes, and then finish that task. But managing your time is one of the things that I have found from my experience has helped me to not become burnout.
Well, and we don't have any questions in the chat, but I got questions, so
Go
I'm
for
gonna
it.
ask my question. So my I'm a work in progress just like everybody else, and so I have had to embrace boundaries and particularly balance. I have a tendency to say yes and overcommit myself. So I was I kind of chuckled when you said that you sometimes have that issue as well. My question is, when you, because I typically say yes, sometimes it is off-putting to others when I say no. And so how do you prepare others for your no as you attempt to change behaviors and set boundaries when they're so used to you saying yes?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me actually walk you through an example here recently that I had to do. So as I was sharing, I was asked to come speak in Augusta, but I already had on my plate to go to London. So I shared with the individual, let me check my schedule, because the individual that was asking me is a grasshopper of mine. I used to call my mentees in the military grasshoppers. So they come to me all the time, ma'am, we want you to come and talk. We want you to come and motivate. We want you to come enhance team synergy, whatever it is. And I feel this is my grasshopper. They were with me while I was in uniform. Nothing that I have ever asked them that they said no to. So how could I dare say no? I got to figure this out. I got to put you on my schedule, right? And I realized that I was going to do a disjustice for her, because I would have gone to the event, wouldn't have been able to stay because I had to get back to Charlotte to fly to my next engagement. And I asked her for some time. Let me check my schedule and let me get back to you. What that did for me was allow me some space to think about how I was going to share with her. It's no now, but it's not no forever. So I was able to then go back to her and say, I tried to finagle it. It didn't work. However, I am not going to be able, unfortunately, to support you this time, but keep me in mind for other opportunities of where I can support you. So taking that time to, if you're uncomfortable, avoid saying no at that moment, but give yourself space with a follow on that give me some time and I'll get back to you.
I love that. I love that. Definitely will employ that. And so my last question is, it has to do with identify your inner fire. When we're talking and when you were talking about what fuels you and what drain you. And so just speaking for myself, I don't mind being transparent in terms of how things impact me and how I conduct myself. But there are times where things may drain me, but I don't recognize them as draining. And it may come out in behavior, it may come out in tone, it may come out in maybe a short temperament at that particular time, which is not even who I am. And so, how do you identify things that are possibly draining you, even though you don't call it draining? Like, what type of behaviors? I guess I just kind of rolled off a little list of what I go through.
Yeah,
and
I think you kind of answered the question, right?
yeah.
Is when you notice that you're being short and being temperamental about things that you know that normally it just roll off your back like water on a duck. But now
Mm-hmm.
it's an issue. It's an issue for you, or your tone. I have said things, right? I'm normally a jovial kind of person, happy-go-lucky kind of person, and I know, and unfortunately, when I realize it is being done with a family member, right? And normally it's my husband, right? That
Mm-hmm.
he sees that my response is, "This isn't Tia." That we normally were laughing, we're talking, but I just snapped, and he'll get quiet, and in that quietness, in that stillness, it's me looking at myself in the mirror to say, "Ooh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to respond that way. What I said, how I said it was totally wrong." But that for me is a red flag to say, "Okay, girl, you're drained." So I've learned to realize that when I go and do a speaking engagement, afterwards, people are going to come, they want to talk to you, they want to they want to get your contact number, prayerfully they want you to come on their stage to speak, right?
Yeah.
They want to engage you, or get you to do, in my instance, get you to come do some interactive training, or do some executive coaching. And I know after those kinds of events, Tia needs a day, because I'm giving it all I got in that setting. I need at least a day to recoup, reacclimate myself, and then the next day I'm ready. So I know for me, time management wise, I do all my posting to have it ready so that I can have it done the next day. So that's not on my plate. So I take those things that I need to have taken off my plate to give me the space. I do that prior to. What do I use? I use the Eisenhower matrix box to say, these are the things I need to do before I go to this engagement. So the next day, my messages, my posts, whatever it is I want to do, is already been addressed to allow me the space to breathe. So you got to know you. It's about emotional intelligence and self-awareness about what makes you tick and what drains you of your energy. Because once you're drained, you can't pour out to people when you're not at your best.
Absolutely. So this has been wonderful, wonderful. I don't have any further questions. How can the Sister Leaders community stay connected to you? What do you have coming up next? Of course, we know you're going to be gracing the stage with Sister Leaders. Of course, we know about your a seat at the table, but anything else that you want to share on this recording so that they can stay connected to you?
Well, you can reach me, like I said, on LT, the number 3, LEADS.com. If you need training, speaking, executive coaching, just need to talk to someone, just to brainstorm an idea, I'm available to you. You can also text me at 704 769 1625. Let me say that again because I messed it up. 704 769 1625. And we can talk about things that are on your plate. But I have coming up, it's not till next year, so mark your calendar, that the Dare to Lead Differently Summit, Leaders of Impact, coming to Charlotte, North Carolina on the 26th through the 27th of June on next year. We're going to have a gala starting out, and a leadership impact community gala, where we're going to be seeding into veterans, homeless veterans, entrepreneur veterans, and we're also going to be supporting efforts for a forgotten cemetery here that has a lot of fallen veterans from World War I, II, and Korean War that are buried there and their graves are in ill repair. So that 26th is the gala community impact. And the next day is where we will be impacting the community with business leaders, having panel discussions, speed networking with business owners. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, you're an emerging leader, you're looking to change dynamics in your career, you're looking to grow as a leader, then that is the space to be in. So there'll be more to follow on that. You can check out my website as I shared. Check me out, share, like, and follow me on LinkedIn at Twanda Young or on Facebook, where we'll be dropping more information about that. But I want to say to you, Dr. Karen, thank you for the opportunity to share with the sister leaders. And I am tremendously excited about sharing at the Sister Leaders Conference in Virginia.
And we are so blessed to have you, and we are so blessed at the partnership. And Miss Lorraine has in the chat, I'm a veteran and your next door neighbor, Durham, North Carolina. So I look forward to it. To
Awesome.
your summit.
Awesome.
So make sure you stay connected. And so I will be remiss if I did not close out this section without saying and reiterating that not only will you hear this lovely leader grace the stage October 3rd and 4th at the Rivers Casino, but we have a battery of other subject matter experts who will grace the stage and operate in their lane of brilliance at the Rivers Casino. We are going back. We sold out on last year, and so we are excited to go and grace the casino again this year. And of course, this year we have a theme, as we have every year, which is her voice, her vision, her victory, because we are all about sister leaders. We love the guys, but we are really still trying to change those numbers in those higher echelon positions where there's a disparate impact of women in leadership. And so the website is sisterleaders.conference.com. It is a full inclusive website that lists everything. And of course, we have the gala where we're going to be recognizing female leaders in 13 different industries, including our highest award, which is the Legacy Leadership award to the 4 individuals, and their lovely pictures are up on the website. And then we also have a battery of other speakers who will be gracing the stage. But look, we are a global community, and so we still continue to live stream for our global community. It is getting late, y'all. Live stream for our global community. And so we will continue to do that on this year. And so if you aren't able to fly to Virginia, don't worry, because you will be able to participate in the festivities through live stream. And right now we have the early bird discount, which is going on. We have another couple of weeks before that expires. So make sure you go ahead and tell your family members and get the 20% off so that you can save money, because we like saving money and I like a deal. And so I like to provide a deal up to a certain point. So make sure you take advantage of that. So that's Sister Leaders with a S conference.com. And I am truly, truly excited and blessed. And thank you, Twanda, for all that you have presented here and poured out. And do you want me to post the worksheet with the replay?
Please do. Please do.
All right.
And I'll send you the Eisenhower box as well.
Okay, great. And so I will do that. And so until the next guest leader expert session, good night.